This video is sponsored by SimpliSafe, the whole home security system that's easy to use, affordable, and free from contracts and hidden costs. There's never been a better time to make your home feel safer since our friends at SimpliSafe are giving Infographics Show fans early access to all their Black Friday deals. That's 50% off or more on their award-winning home security. SimpliSafe is the easiest way to secure your home and family. There's no lengthy ordering setup or a pushy salesman. Instead, you're enabled to build a system that fits your needs perfectly, with none of the stuff you don't need or want, and have it shipped right to your doorstep. There's sensors to cover every window, room, and door, indoor and doorbell cameras, and even extras like smoke detectors, all of which are monitored 24/7 by a professional team who are always on to call authorities if they're alerted. And now, their only wireless outdoor security camera with its HD resolution, 8x zoom, and built-in spotlight, you can keep your entire outdoor space just as secure. I recently set up my own SimpliSafe system, and honestly, it couldn't have been easier. I tried other home security options in the past, and none of them were this, well, simple. Setting up all of the cameras was a breeze, especially the wireless outdoor security camera. Doesn't even need an outlet, so it can literally go anywhere. And now that I'm all set up, the app makes it easy to check in on everything while I'm away, and I can travel without worrying about a thing. So what are you waiting for? Go save 50% or more on your SimpliSafe security system during their biggest sale of the year. Visit simplisafe.com/infographics to learn more. Can you really be in love as a teenager? Does it even matter what you do in high school? What mistake could ruin your life? These are hard questions to answer, but looking back, there are some hard truths about the world that every teenager should know. Inevitably, teenagers will spend a lot of time in school, like probably more than they even spend at home. This is just the nature of the world we live in. So what do I know now that I wish we knew then? Well, almost everyone I know who at least tried in high school as teenagers are now successful and living their best lives. School may not be cool, but the harsh truth of it is that if you don't try in high school, life is going to be real hard down the road. I'm not saying you have to solely focus on school during your teenage years. In fact, it's highly recommended by experts that you do not spend every day consumed by schoolwork. This is because it'll not only make you miserable, but you'll be a pretty boring person as well. School's not just a place where you're forced to do work, but where you learn certain life skills, build relationships, and try new things. Which brings us to the next thing I wish I knew as a teenager. When choosing which classes to take, don't do what everyone else is doing, do what interests you. The harsh truth about most teenagers is that they like to be a part of the group rather than being an individual. This means as a teenager, you might make decisions based on what your friend group is doing, not what you want. Maybe you're really into science and there's a marine biology elective that you want to take. Go for it. Even if you aren't very good at science but love the ocean, you might be surprised at what you discover about yourself. Sure, none of your friends may be in the class, but maybe you'll meet new people who share common interests. And just as a spoiler alert, once you leave your teenage years behind, you probably will only keep in contact with a handful of your high school friends anyway. So don't let them influence what you do. Taking a class that sounds cool instead of what everyone else wants you to take is definitely something I wish I had known as a teenager. But here's a pro tip for teenagers who may not do well in school. Even if you're not the best student, you should become friendly with some of your teachers. Teachers are there to help. Not all teachers are perfect or even good, but most care. Talking to a teacher after class that you find interesting or nice is a great way to learn more about the harsh obstacles ahead of you after completing high school. If I talked to more of my teachers outside of class, I wouldn't have been blindsided in the coming years with the amount of college work, job applications, or credit card bills that awaited me. Plus, the better your relationship is with your favorite teachers, the more likely they'll be to write you a good letter of recommendation or agree to be references when you apply for jobs. You may even be surprised about how your relationship with your teachers grows once you're an adult. You might find yourself grabbing a drink and commiserating over the good old days when all you had to worry about was not fooling around in class and getting detention. But enough about school. Once you graduate, what should you do? Go to college? Get a job? Travel the world? Well, here's another crucial thing that I wish someone had told me as a teenager. After high school, things get hard. It doesn't matter if you choose to go straight to college or not. Life is expensive, and you're gonna need to get a job at some point. So as a teenager, the harsh truth is it's time to start making your own money. Whether it's working at a grocery store or as a pizza delivery driver, you need to make money to start supporting yourself. Most teenagers have parents who will help them financially, but you never know when money will become tight. And it's definitely worth being prepared by having your own job. Like school, jobs may not be fun, but they are necessary. Teenagers who enter their 20s and have never worked a day in their life are going to find out how hard life can actually be. They will have no experience or skills, and no one will hire them except to do the most menial jobs. The harsh reality is every teenager needs a job. You don't have to look very hard to find songs about love, especially ones that have to do with how much it sucks. There are some tough lessons to learn about love, sex, and rock and roll as a teenager. The harsh fact about teenage love is that it's not really love at all. It might be lust or desire or a way to fit in, but it's not love. Teenage hormones can make you do crazy things, which includes making bad love decisions. In reality, the teenage years of someone's life should be used for experimenting and trying new things. This also includes your love life. You should develop relationships with different people, just be sure to treat everyone with respect. Every teenager remembers their first love. The other person may not have loved them back, or even knew they existed. Either way, what you feel as a teenager isn't really love at all, since you do not have enough personal and life experiences quite yet. That's why it's almost always impossible to find a couple who have been faithfully together since they were teenagers. The key word is faithfully. Now, don't get me wrong, you can definitely love someone, something, somebody, but the love you see between two adults is going to be different than what you experience as a teenager. And that's okay. I just wish someone would have told my teenage self that before I had my heart broken. The harsh reality is that as a teenager, you're going to have a broken heart at some point. There's no way around it. But if I could go back and tell teenage me one thing, it'd be that what I was feeling then was only a fraction of what things after teenage life had in store for me. There are much bigger problems in the world, and in everyone's lives in general, than a teenage crush breaking up with you. To go along with teenage romance, it's really important to get in the habit of asking for permission. As teenagers, we sometimes feel that rules don't apply to us, but the law feels very differently. If you're going to be in a teenage romantic relationship, make sure you and your partner are on the same page. If you don't want to get slapped or thrown in juvie, make sure you ask permission from your partner before engaging in romantic activity. This is also true for the rest of your life. The harsh reality is that sexual misconduct runs rampant in the world. If you want to be a good person and do what's right, just get into the habit of asking permission when you're a teenager. Also, a word of warning from those of us beyond our teenage years. It is not cool or even remotely all right for a teenager to date a person that is significantly older than them. For one, it's illegal if you're under 18, and secondly, it is just creepy. Again, it's harsh but true. Some people are just not good people, especially when it comes to taking advantage of someone younger than them. Something that teenagers and everyone needs to be prepared for in life is failing. It's gonna happen, and you know what? I wish someone had told me it was okay to fail as a teenager. That might be hard to hear, but when you fail as a teenager, you learn. A lot of the time, failure is seen as a bad thing, but it can also be beneficial. Since life is full of failures, it is good to build up your stamina as a teenager. Again, it's not always bad to fail because it can help you become better. The truth is, when you're a teenager, it won't be the first time you fail or the last, so it's best to just accept it, learn from it, and move on. Which brings us to maybe the most helpful advice for a teenager who is about to head out into the harsh world. If you have a question to ask it. This goes for school, work, or in your home. It's always better to ask for help than to try to go through it alone. Adults or people who are out of their teenage years have gone through what you're going through before, and they probably even have the answers you seek. Since things will only get harder before they get easier, it's good to ask as many questions as possible of the people around you. If you ask a lot of questions, you will definitely thank your teenage self later on in life. And another thing that teenagers should know is there is always a choice. This is something I wish someone would have kept reminding me of as a teenager. It would have saved me a lot of energy in the end. Oftentimes, it might feel like your life is planned out and that there's only one path to take, but that is far from the truth. If I'd known how many times life would take twists and turns, I'd tell my teenage self to just go with the flow. You're gonna feel trapped as a teenager taking a single path toward college, a job, or whatever else might be on the horizon, but you always have a choice. The hardest thing about having a choice is forgetting that it's there. As a teenager, now is the time to make different choices and try different things. Because once your life really gets going, you're gonna have others relying on you, like your family and coworkers. So the teenage years are when to try new things and to make choices for yourself while not having to worry too much about all the other factors that might affect those choices later on. Many of your young teenage friends will move away, or you'll just lose contact with them, and that's just the truth. Most people keep only a few, or maybe even just one lifelong friend from their teenage years. You will depend on each other and be there for one another for the rest of your lives, so you might want to treat them nicely. It may be harsh to hear, but sometimes teenagers can be selfish. They put unimportant things like social media, summer flings, and temporary happiness ahead of friends and family. This is a bummer, because once all those things are gone, family and friends might be all you have left. So, if you want some advice that I wish I had known as a teenager, it would be this. Treat your friends and family as if they were the most important things in your life, because someday they will be. You and everyone else makes mistakes. This means forgiving others could be a real source of happiness for you as a teenager. Having the ability to let things go or just move on is definitely a life skill everyone needs, but it may be even more important for teenagers. By forgiving your friends and others for the mistakes they've made, you can move past the bad stuff and on to the good stuff. And don't forget, you're going to make some mistakes too. And the more kind and forgiving you are, the easier it'll be for people to forgive you later on. One last piece of harsh advice for all the teenagers out there, and this might be hard to hear: the problems you're having right now probably aren't that big of a deal. If someone just had told my teenage self this and pointed out how I could be living my life and trying as many new experiences as possible, things would have gotten a lot smoother. Harsh truth of it is that as a teenager, you don't have many responsibilities as you might think, and you can pretty much do whatever you want within reason. So try and let go of those teenage problems and enjoy your time in this part of life before you have to grow up too much. Now watch What is Life Like for a North Korean Teenager, or check out How to Make Money if you're under 18.